Hello, my name's Ben,
And my name's Josh.
and welcome back to FPL Graduates, and welcome back to another Fantasy Premier League video. We're here to hopefully build you the best big at the back team that you could possibly make on FPL.
Yeah, so there's a lot of value in the defence this year. We're seeing Trent Alexander-Arnold coming cheaper than Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So it's definitely a viable option to look at, especially going into the start of the season. So let's get into it.
Okay, so we're going to start off in goal for this draft, and we're going to go with Mendy. Yes, he's not the most expensive, but he's the best value keeper in the game, in my opinion, and in Josh's opinion. So it's worth just going for him, worth going for like a 4 million goalkeeper like Caballero, and then let's just go absolutely ham on the defence and see what we can build. I mean, Josh, like Mendy, he's got to be in there regardless, right?
Yeah, I just feel like his value for money is unreal. Chelsea, we always say, we're one of the best defensive teams now last season. So it would be silly not to go with him. Is it worth potentially going with Alisson or Edison for 0.5 more? I don't think so. I think Mendy will be good. Obviously, it all depends at the minute with Chelsea's defenders. Obviously, they've sold a lot of them. So who they get in is going to be interesting. But I don't see them necessarily leaking goals for fun. They've always been quite a good defensive team. So he'll be my goalkeeper for Game Week 1, without a doubt.
Okay, guys. So the defence for the big at the back draft. It's got to be, first of all, Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's got to be in pretty much every team, whether it's big at the back or not. He's got to be in there. And, you know, realistically, we're going to triple up on Liverpool assets anyway. So Robertson is that other guy. There's been a lot of debate on Twitter. Which is the better third Liverpool player to go for? And the debate has probably been mostly between Robertson and Luis Diaz. We're going to go with Robertson on this occasion. His stats for the second half of last season were the best out of any defender in the league, and that includes Trent Alexander-Arnold. So I think he's a thoroughly underrated asset, and one you should definitely consider regardless, because he's been fantastic for a number of years now on FPL.
Yeah, only 10% owned right now. He's gone very under the radar. That is obviously because of Luis Diaz. You can only have 3 Liverpool players, and Salah, Trent, and Diaz seem to be the 3 most popular at the minute. But it wouldn't shock me if Andrew Robertson outscored Diaz. We could always see rotation in that front 3 for Liverpool. Now Mane is gone, so yeah, it would be interesting to see, because Robertson is also $1 million cheaper than Diaz as well. So something to bear in mind with that one. On to the next defender. We're going to go for João Cancelo. Again, so underpriced, £7 million for such a great defender. Man City keeping over 20 clean sheets last season, and this man being a big part of that. Obviously got quite a few attacking returns to go with it. 201 points last season. Absolutely incredible. 46% ownership, so on the high side, but definitely needed in your FPL teams. Very good player. What's your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, he's a must-have for me anyway in a normal FPL draft, let alone a big at the back. He's 45% owned to begin with, so the risk that you're taking when bringing him in is relatively low. And he's got huge upside potential in goals and assists. He basically plays centre mid at times for Manchester City, so definitely worth bringing him in. Okay, so the next guy we're going with is, we're mixing it up from the City and Liverpool players. We're going for Ivan Perisic, the new defender from Tottenham Hotspur. As we know, he loves playing in an Antonio Conte system. And the last time he played under Antonio Conte, if you translated the returns he got in the Serie A, put them into FPL points, 197 points before bonus points were added. So absolutely ridiculous numbers. Very attacking fullback, priced very nicely at 5.5 million as well. And as you can see, a lot of people picked up on that, 46% owned. So he's going straight into our big at the back draft.
Yeah, obviously a lot of people have a few question marks about him, his age, is he going to play all the minutes, etc., etc. But I'm not sure if it's a risk you can really take in Game Week 1 with that ownership being so high, with how explosive we know that he can be in an Antonio Conte system. I think it's definitely worth the risk. You could easily move him on to another defender. We've seen Trippier at 5 million and other players who are very good attacking fullbacks at that sort of price. So it's an easy transfer if he doesn't play, and he's definitely in our big at the back draft.
Okay, so the final player in our defence, you probably expected Reece James, but we're going for Reuben Diaz. We're doubling up on the City defence. We're going big at the back with this one. He is probably one of the best centre-halves in the league. He's got a good attacking goal threat. He picked up a very good amount of points last season, the same amount as Reece James, and he is a consistent starter for Manchester City. They're the best defense in the league. And again, under 10% owned, Josh.
Yeah, again, very big differential and a very good player. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, previous seasons, he scored only 1 point less than his previous season, despite playing 440 less minutes, obviously due to more injuries this last season. That's because he picked up more attacking returns. We see him playing some nice long balls, almost diagonals into the box, and I think that's going to really benefit someone like Erling Harlan in the middle. So we might even see that increase. That's a lot of attacking returns from a centre half as well, 7 attacking returns. Obviously, keeping 14 clean sheets last season. Man City are a juggernaut of a defensive team. Nathan Ake might be on the way out as well, which gives less competition, obviously only to Laporte and to John Stones for him. And I always think he's almost nailed in that City team at centre half. So he is our 5th and final defender. So next up in our midfield, and no means least, obviously, there's got to be some budget players in there with such a stacked defence. We're going to go with Andreas Pereira. I think at the moment, we think he's probably the best 4.5 million midfielder. Obviously, time will tell in terms of pre-season minutes, etc., etc. But there will be a couple of these 4.5 million midfielders. If you haven't already, check out our latest video where we go through the best bench options for your FPL teams.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. And we're going to go with someone who's also got some really good fixtures at the start of the season and is a little bit cheaper than the counterparts in the same position as him. It is Martinelli from Arsenal. His fixtures are fantastic to start the season, and he could be a really, really explosive asset to pick. So we've gone with him as well.
Yeah, obviously Arsenal's fixtures, like you said, are some of the best right now. Palace, Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham and Villa in their first 5. Only Man United and Tottenham, realistically, within the first 9, who are the top teams to target. So he's in there. Obviously, no sign of Rafinha joining just yet. So, yeah, I think he's surely got to be nailed down on that left-hand side. He seems like such an explosive asset when he's played under Arteta. Our next midfielder is going to be Neto. He's been really, really sought after in the FPL community. 22% owned, which is quite a lot for a 5.5 million midfielder. Obviously, he was injured for a large part of last season, only getting the 22 points. But as you can see, the season before, 2,500 minutes, 124 points, scoring 5 goals and 8 assists. Very decent season for him. Can he come back and create that? I think he can. Wolves are in dire need of some great attacking players, and I think he's one of them. 5.5 million is a little bit underpriced, but obviously due to his injuries, I think, he's going to be a good asset for us to own.
Yeah, definitely. His fixtures are very good as well. We just got to bear in mind Wolves' attacking output isn't too great, but he's definitely a great option to have in this draft. Now, for the next midfielder, we're going to go a little bit outside the box here. We're going to go for a player who, after the first fixture, has a fantastic sort of run, and it's Pablo Fornals of West Ham. We anticipate that we could see him start games at the start of the season. We'll see how he goes once we get sort of game week 5, game week 6. But for that initial start of the season, I don't think you'd ask for a better run of fixtures than that. And at that price point, there's not too many options. Fornals is one that is definitely decent for us.
Yeah, when we were looking at this price point in midfield, there's a lot of decent options, but not necessarily the best fixtures. And we think, obviously, with the format of this team being big at the back, you could easily bench Fornals for game week 1 against Man City, and then look to play him in those fixtures against Nottingham Forest, Brighton, and Aston Villa. Obviously, last season, 117 points, getting the 10 attacking returns throughout the season. He's not going to set the world alight, don't get me wrong. He's not going to be Jarrett Bowen, but he's a good player for a good price who could easily tick along and be a decent sub option. So if there's anyone you fancy in that position, definitely go for them. We've looked at the likes of Michael Elise, Visser as well. There's some good little players in there that definitely will provide value at different points of the season. So into our front 3, our forward line, we are going with another premium asset, and it is obviously going to be Erling Harlan, a great player. 65% owned at the minute. He is literally the most owned player in FPL right now. It's crazy 65% ownership for 1.5 million players at the time of recording. What's your thoughts on Erling Harlan, Ben?
Yeah, he's got to be in the team there. His ownership is just far too high to ignore, and his sort of previous stats at previous clubs in the Champions League as well. It's too good to not have him in. Okay, so our next starting striker is going to be Callum Wilson of Newcastle United. We think his fixtures, again, are really, really good to start the season. And we saw at the tail end of the season last year some of the form that he can bring to the table. He is a consistent performer in the Premier League. And yes, last season he had a few injuries, but just look at that history. He's going to score goals, especially with Newcastle improving their team overall. He's going to get more chances and he's going to get more opportunity to score some hauls.
Yeah, if he's fit, he's one of the most talismanic players in the Premier League. As you see, over 100 points 4 seasons in a row, gaining around 2,000 minutes, if not more, in all those seasons as well. So it goes to show if he is fit, he does score goals. 8 goals last season on only 1,300 minutes is very good as well. So he's looking good. Obviously, you might say, oh yeah, but they face City and Liverpool in their first 5. If you look at the run that Newcastle have in their first 10. It's absolutely unreal. They face all of the promoted clubs. They face some of the worst teams from the Premier League, like Brentford, for example. Maybe even Wolves towards the back in the last season didn't look too good either, did they? So yeah, really nice run for the first 10 for Newcastle, barring the City and Liverpool fixture. He's going to go under the radar massively at only 4% owned. And to finish up the team, it's going to be any 4.5 million forward other than Sam Greenwood, because we do not want high-owned players at 4.5 million because their price will just decrease. So yeah, we picked Force. Came on last season for 200 minutes, got an assist, but realistically, it is that 1.7% ownership that we are looking at, isn't it, Ben?
Yeah, for sure. We know potentially that, he won't drop in value as much as a Greenwood would if he doesn't play. So that's the risk we're taking that Greenwood doesn't play. But yeah, Force is in there just as a third sub player.
That wraps up our big at the back draft. What do you think? Will you be going big at the back this season? We've got a triple up on City, a triple up on Liverpool, some very nice low-owned assets as well around them. What's your thoughts, Ben?
Yeah, I think we've created a very good team, and let us know if we missed any players in there that you think we should have brought in. And as always, please remember to like the video as Josh is sneezing, subscribe, and follow us on all of our socials. And as per usual, I've been Ben.
I've been Josh.
And we'll see you guys
later.